But he was at University of Central Missouri. Temperature sitting at 80 degrees. It'll get up to 88 before all is said and done. And we are underway in Athens. And the first pitch is sliced into left field. Clayton Chadwick will cover some ground and get there. And there's one down. Ben, this can be an incredibly offensive ballpark. The wind is kind of toying with us right now, sometimes blowing out to right field. How does it impact both pitchers?
Well, I mean, Georgia, one of the best if not the best home running team in the country. They only hit 5 home runs in their Athens regional last weekend, and that's because the wind was blowing in, and it's kind of drifting in a little bit today, but still 350 down the left field line. Ball carries well in the left center field gap, and of course out to right field the ball typically carries very well. We were here for batting practice yesterday, and the balls were really flying, but it was a little bit different wind than what it is today. Elliot
Avent certainly took note of it. He compared it to the ballpark in Winston-Salem where Wake plays, the old minor league ballpark, formerly Ernie Shore Field, which is tiny. So here's Pennington, grad transfer from both University of Central Missouri and then Wichita State. He's a Kansas City native, grew up a huge Royals fan. Mike Moustakas was his guy when they were winning the World Series. He's from Kansas side out of Shawnee Mission West. And he's tied for the ACC lead with 25 doubles, 5th most in the country. An OPS over 1,000, a 347 average. I mean, we will see some monster numbers for both teams offensively, especially at the top of the state lineup. Smith didn't like that pitch suggestion from Fernando Gonzalez. They come to terms. Here's the 0-2. And the breaking ball's waved at. It has been a great pitch for him. Whiff rate, whether it's a slider or the curve.
Yeah, whiff rate on that slider, 46%. To give you an idea how good that is, the college D1 average on a slider swing and miss is about 33%. So his is 13% better than the average D1 pitcher.
So here's a big switch hitter, Alek Makarevich, 6'2", 234, out of Lake Brantley High School in Longwood, Florida, and he's playing in his 260th career game today. That's the most among all players, not just Division I, all levels of college baseball. 9th in school history in single-season home runs with 20 of them. They needed a third baseman. Gino Groover was a second-round pick off the team last year, and they got Makarevich out of East Carolina, where he was a 4-year starter. Started every single game the last 2 seasons.
That seems to be the recipe for success in recent years. Older players, and both of these teams have a lot of older players.
Breaking ball hit to the right side, and that finds a hole. Corey Collins is hugging the line. 2-out single.
Makarevich, he can just, I mean, you don't hit 380 because you can't use the whole field. He stayed on that breaking ball pretty good and found the hole in between first and second.
Early spear fingers for 99. Here's Jacob Cozart. He's a junior out of High Point, North Carolina, and he is rocketing up the draft charts. He is one of, if not the best defensive catcher in the entire country. The junior out of Wesleyan Christian Academy was named this week to the Buster Posey Award finalist list, one of just 3. Joining Walter Janik of Sam Houston State and Cal Poly's Ryan Stafford. And Ben Cozart, kind of like the rest of the team, has gotten hot at the right time. Of his 16 home runs, 9 came over a 9-game stretch starting in the back end of April.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I mean, when they went on the run that they owned, when they went on 16-6 in their final 22 games, it was because the offense took a step forward. And then, look, the pitching got better, too, and the back end of that bullpen really got good for NC State with some arms. And to me, it feels eerily similar to their 21 team that made it to Omaha, where there was 3 or 4 guys at the back end of that bullpen was really good. The offense got hot at the right time. There's Elliot Avent right there.
His 36th season overall, 28th at NC State. Over 1,000 wins with the Pack.
Now, what, 68 years young?
0-2 to Cozart with the runner at first here in the opening frame. Upstairs. It's a team under Avent that's playing with a lot of confidence. We talked with Elliott about that yesterday, and he just kind of nodded his head, said that is a real thing in the game of baseball. I've been to the College World Series 3 times, twice under Elliott, 13 and 21, and previously their first visit came in 1968.
Well, when you knock off the teams they did the second half of the season, it can only give you confidence. I mean, you talk about Clemson, North Carolina, Virginia, swept Wake.
They went 10 and 5 against top 10 teams this season.
I think that
their
was
best against the best.
Yeah, and there was some concern, right? I mean, they were about to hit the meat of their schedule when they were scuffling a little bit, but they certainly, like you said, they grabbed a different gear.
Slider just missed. Rick Allen has the plate today.
Two different breaking balls, so slider and a curveball. That's more of the curveball version right there. Looked like it just maybe missed up just a tick. He's going to throw an occasional changeup. Smith will show you an occasional changeup, most to the left-handers.
Swing and a miss on the fastball at 92. A couple of Ks in the first hit. Started. Collins leads the country in on-base percentage at .583. Great visit with Corey yesterday, who is a senior at Suwanee, Georgia, North Gwinnett High School. And he said, it's pretty simple. I changed my approach. I'm on top of the plate. I will take away the inner third. I will dare you to come inside. And most college pitchers don't. Most can't. And if they do, well, he's been hit by a pitch 27 times.
I think it's a smart move because not enough college pitchers throw consistently to the inside part of the plate. So if I'm a hitter, I'm going to do what he does. I'm going to get my toes up on the plate. I'm going to take away the inside part of the plate, and I'm going to look for balls middle of the way. And he has been outstanding so far this year doing it.
He can run into him, too. Georgia has never had a pair of 20 home run hitters in the same season. Collins is sitting at 19, and you see a guy who's been hit by that many pitches. Helps to have some armor. Now, the armor on top of that right hand is because he had a hand injury that cost him the last 20 games of last year. They couldn't figure it out. Went to a hand specialist, saw the Braves orthopedic doctor, and he rockets this one, but got out in front. And that's into the kudzu foul. Got everybody on their feet in the ballpark.
How about that? A little bit of a changeup from Highfield. So he's not wanting to give in to Collins. 2-1 count. Collins thinks he's getting that fastball, but instead Highfield takes a little bit off. Really good swing. And you can see the swing to Collins. I mean, it is bottom to top. It's an uppercut type swing.
Breaking ball almost got the jersey. 3-2. Collins a few years ago was on the SEC all-freshman team that was coming off of a senior year at North Gwinnett where they didn't have their season. And the previous coaching staff, led by Scott Strickland, said this guy's a potential first-round catcher when he showed up. Sharply hit. Picked up at short. And one down. And that'll bring up the nation's best hitter, Charlie Condon. There have only been 6 first overall picks out of the SEC. He figures to be the 7th. And there have only been 2 other players in Division I baseball history who have led the nation in home runs and average in the same season. Charlie would be the 3rd. .445 average, 36 home runs, and the first pitch low and away. If you're NC State, how do you pitch to Charlie Condon?
Carefully. I mean, anytime I get a chance to pitch around him, I'm going to find a way to do it. I think you read the bat, you see what he's doing. Obviously, we know he's been really good so far this year. So far, they stay on the outside part of the plate. That ball could have been called a strike, but wasn't. But these are the situations when you get yourself in these situations right here. When you get behind in the count, he's not the guy, obviously, you're going to give into.
Charlie Condon could go 0 for his next 25 and still hit 400. And he drives it to right center field. Back his souls, and the park's going to hold it. The long fly out. The nation's home run leader, 2 down.
And about as good a 2-0 pitch for Sam Highfield as he could throw. Fastball down and away, right at the bottom of the knees on the outside part of the plate. Condon not able to get enough on it. Love this location right here. That's a pretty good heater right there. Down.
So 2 down, and Dylan Goldstein at the plate. He's got a dozen home runs this year. Graduate student out of Florida Atlantic, and he gets tied up on the breaking ball. Southwest Ranches, Florida is his hometown. He's from North Broward Prep. And that pitch is low.
Now, Sam Highfield's going to do it a little bit differently. So 47 of his 73 strikeouts have come from his fastball. He is typically fastball heavy. Going to use that pitch about 64% of the time. Then the slider is the next most used pitch. He'll show you occasional changeup, occasional curveball.
Line drive pulled foul. But changeup seems to be effective against Georgia here to start.
Yeah, I mean, look, Georgia's like a lot of power hitting teams like Tennessee. They're very good fastball hitters. And so the key for Sam Highfield, I think, is going to be to use the fastball a little bit less than what he typically does and try to get one of those breaking balls or that changeup really going.
Fastball rides high, 2-2. Two seasons at Florida Atlantic for Goldstein. He was second team All-Conference USA. Started every game last year. Prior to that was at Chipola Junior College. And he slices this one foul.
This Georgia offense off the charts this year. We mentioned the home runs, second most in the country. Runs per game, 9.2, so that's the sixth best mark in the country. But top 10 in walks, hit by pitches, on base percentage, slugging, home runs per game, you name it, they can do it.
No score in the first. The 2-2 is a breaking ball fouled into the Georgia dugout. In addition to the offensive numbers Ben just described, Georgia is even better at home. A .329 team average and 101 home runs here in this ballpark in 37 games.
Wow. Love them some home cooking, don't they?
Pulled to the right side. It'll be Butterworth who handles it. 1-2-3 frame work by Highfield. We got no score through one in the Athens Super Regional. Trip to Omaha, 11.
And if they make it there, be looking for their, first national title, too.
That's right.
That's hard to believe. Been there that many times.
Here's Brandon Butterworth. 7 home runs and 30 driven in. By the way, Florida State's first game this season, the first played without Mike Martin, who passed away in the fall, was decided by a final score of 11-0. No way. 2 of the last 3 Wolfpack hitters have reached via single, and now Alex Sosa coming to the plate. Sosa's a freshman. He's from Vieira, Florida. And he had an 0 for 37 skid early in May. Then he had a 2 for 3 against Norfolk State, and then 2 multi-hit games and that sweep of Wake Forest with home runs in 2 of those 3 games, the first and third games against the Demon Deacons. And he has really found his stride. And he rips one through the right side. That'll put Butterworth over at second. And he's going to try to stretch the arm of Goldstein. And the Pack has runners at first and third, but nobody out in the second.
Boy, Sosa wasting no time at all. Got the pitch he was looking for, hits it in the hole. And I tell you what, Butterworth just kind of runs right in the face of the right fielder, Dylan Goldstein. Because this ball's hit hard. Goldstein gets to this ball right now, just about the time Butterworth's hitting second base, but Butterworth never checked up, and all of a sudden here come the Pack, first and third, and nobody out.
And Luke Nixon to the plate. He's one of 2 sons of former Red Sox player Trot Nixon, who won a World Series championship with Boston. Is on this team. His brother Chase also plays the outfield. Luke looks at a pitch outside. They went through this entire shuffle earlier this season, especially when Josh Hogue, their center fielder, broke his leg on a collision in the outfield. And as a result, Luke, who'd been playing middle infield at second base, he got shuffled into the outfield, played some right. Now he's getting to start in left. It's a versatile NC State team. Foul back. Kind of reminds you of just a travel ball team, right? Kind of like what they had in Omaha in 21. Like, okay, I only got 13 guys. Roll the ball out. Everybody's got to be able to play every position.
You know, Elliot Avent is so good at that, and we saw him navigate through all the stuff that happened in 21, be able to plug some guys in different places, you know. And you mentioned it in the open. I mean, he does as good a job as anybody getting his team right when it matters the most.
Square to bunt, and it's pulled down the right side, and the safety will get a run home, and he's safe. I didn't think a game at Foley Field would be decided by small ball, but here we are. The first run crosses as Nixon brings home Butterworth.
Boy, and if you're Luke Nixon, I don't think you could have stood at home plate and rolled this bunt down the first base line any better than that. Corey Collins vacates first base, goes to pitch it over to first base, but there is nobody there. Slade Alford just a little bit late getting there.
And now Matt Hebner coming up. He's the 8-hole hitter for NC State. He squares and drops it down, but it'll go foul. Only 18 sacrifice bunts on the season for NC State.
NC State's showing you right now they can beat you a lot of different ways.
Hebner's a sophomore from Lincolnton, North Carolina, out of North Lincoln High School. Played sparingly last year, just a few starts at second base. Corners are in now, and this bunt is perfectly placed. It gets into no man's land. Condon and Smith couldn't agree as to who was covering. Condon went back to the bag, and the bases are loaded for NC State.
Well, this one's on the pitcher, Colton Smith here. First and second bunt situation. You as a pitcher are responsible for the third base line. And so he should be bouncing towards third base, but you can see Smith, he's standing there. And there's the third baseman. Charlie Condon thought Smith was going to field the ball. He goes back to the bench. And not a whole lot of bunts for them this year, but I tell you what, you'd never know by the last two at-bats.
Fouled off by Souls. Fifth-year senior out of Thomasville, North Carolina, Ledford High School. He has missed a good chunk of time this year. Just returned a few weekends ago for the Florida State series, and he takes a strike.
And if you're Colton Smith right now on the mound, it's about minimizing damage, right? You've got one of the best offenses in the country sitting right behind you. They're going to put some runs on the scoreboard. The key is staying away from a big number. Middle infielders are playing back, so they'll turn two up the middle.
Fly ball lifted foul on the left side.
I think as a pitcher, when you get yourself in these situations, you always think ground ball first to try to turn a double play. Now, once I get to two strikes where he is right now, I'm thinking one thing. I'm thinking strikeout now. I got to find a way to pick up a strikeout. He's certainly been able to do that so far this year. Colton Smith came in with 99 strikeouts and only 65 innings of work.
And the slider's been his best pitch for a strikeout. Meanwhile, Souls on the course of the season 1 for 4 with the bases loaded. Making ball up and away. Georgia has won the last 9 starts for Colton Smith. He's really found his footing late in the season. This is his 4th start of the year, and this one's lifted out of play. Had a great start against Florida 2 starts ago. That was in the regular season series finale. He struck out a dozen and walked 1 over 8 innings.
That's probably his best start of the year. I tell you what, his 3 starts, he faced A&M, Florida, and UNC Wilmington.
Grounded down the line of fair. Multiple runs will score. Sosa first. Here comes Nixon. Hebner will be waved home from third by Chris Hart. It is a run-clearing double off the bat of the 9-hole hitter, Noah Souls. Wow. 4-0 State.
NC State, they claim to play now, folks. No doubt about that. Fastball on the inside part of the plate. And boy, he got Noah Souls, gets the hands in tight to the body, gets the barrel to it, and they rock it right down the first base line, right past Corey Collins, who's playing well off the bag. And once it got down the corner, no doubt 3 would score. Boy, NC State out quickly in this one. Already 6 hits on 4 runs, and we're in the 2nd inning.
Second plate appearance for Eli Serrano, and he drives it to the gap in right center field. It is gone! 2-run home run, Serrano, 6-0 NC State.
Well, if you didn't know who NC State was, you know now. We talked about the way they finished the season, 16-6 in their final 22 games, folks. Blew through their own regional. How about this swing right here?
Then they went from small ball to long ball.
I'm telling you, they're showing you a lot of different ways they can beat you right now. Getting the bunch down with some small ball and, of course, playing big ball, too.
And now here's Pennington with his second plate appearance. First pitch changeup, 0-1 to Pennington. That home run for Serrano is 8th of the year. An NC State team barely in the top 50 in home runs in the country coming in. But they have ridden the long ball the last couple of weeks. Check swing, and they say went Darren Hyman down the first baseline. Garrett Pennington spent 3 years at University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg, Missouri. He was a Division II All-American, and he fits this one through the left side. And guys like Pennington and now Makarevich might be the poster children for the transfer portal.
Yeah.
The ability to start at one place, to prove that you should get an opportunity at the next, and then graduate to a higher level, especially for Pennington going Division II to the American Conference, then to the ACC, and for Makarevich going from East Carolina to NC State. Fastball just off the plate, 1-0.
So Smith having trouble finishing. He got Souls down 0-2. He ends up with a 3 RBI double, and then he got Garrett Pennington down 0-2 and gave up a base hit as well.
Been a long inning already for Smith. Pennington not a threat to run, just 1 for 2 on the bases this year, especially with big 99 at the plate.
No action down in that Georgia bullpen as of yet. 7 consecutive base hits.
Smith looking for his first out of the inning. And fits in a strike. You like your slugger to take there 3-0?
Yeah, I think so.
Get 7 straight hits?
I mean, the odds on 3-0, if you look at the numbers over the years, especially in Major League Baseball, the numbers aren't great swinging 3-0.
Whoa, almost took his hat off, and that's the 8th consecutive hit for NC State. It may have actually grazed his head. Fernando Gonzalez is calling for the trainer to come out and visit with Colton Smith.
This was a bullet, too. Right back from whence it came. And look, it might have hit his finger on his throwing hand. And that's just a reaction as a pitcher. You see a ball coming at you, and you just try to catch it. The balls have changed a little bit. Clearly something's happened the last 3 or 4 years.
Here's the 9th batter of the inning, Jacob Cozart. He struck out his first time up. Georgia still hasn't recorded an out here in this second inning. Chandler Marsh getting loose in the Georgia pen. Cozart comes from an athletic family. He said he got more of his mom's build. She was a 5'11" leaper college volleyball player. Chance for 2 to second. Got his foot off the bag. Did he get it? They say safe at first, and I'm not sure he wasn't safe at second. And that is indeed what Angel Campos said.
Yeah, the call is safe at second. Corey Collins, the first baseman, makes the right play. He's trying to get the lead runner over at second base. The throw was a little bit high. And Kobe Branch, the shortstop, you'll watch him tippy-toe right here. He tries to keep the right foot on the bag. The question is, did he keep it on the bag?
I'm going to review the play at second. I got him off the bag.
That is super close right there at second base.
This is an average Georgia defensive team. They really make their money at the plate. With a .975 fielding percentage. They'll ask Wes Johnson exactly what he wants to challenge if that was not umpire initiated with the review at second.
I don't know. That is, you know, and that's why the call in the field is always the most important, because obviously they're not.
Branch disagreed with that, but NC State has loaded the bases for the second time. And they will bat around with Brandon Butterworth coming to the plate. He started this inning with a single up the middle. Butterworth is just 1 for 11 with the bases loaded this season. Still nobody out in the second. And a fastball's rocketed to right field, pushing Goldstein back to the track, to the wall, off of his glove and on the cinders. 1 run scores as Pennington comes home. They'll stop Makarevich. Goldstein may have kept that thing from leaving the yard, but NC State keeps the carousel turning. A run-scoring single, and one of the longest singles you'll see for Brandon Butterworth.
Goldstein, the right fielder for Georgia. I mean, this ball shoves him all the way up toward right center field. He is off and moving. And looked like the ball hit in the, it hit in the glove, but when he hit the wall, the ball pops out. That might be the end of the day for Colt Smith. Just an outstanding effort. Yeah, it was in the glove, and then it pops right out when he hits the wall.
Chandler Marsh had been throwing in the Georgia pen, and he is entering
off of the fastball.
Alex Sosa came up with a single his first time up this inning. He is the 11th batter of the frame for NC State. Bases loaded, nobody out. The first pitch from Marsh is good enough for a strike, top of the zone. Goes off speed, gets a swing and a miss, 0-2. Georgia's largest comeback this season was a 6-run deficit against Georgia Tech on March 3rd. They trailed 9-3 and won that game 11-9. Ball and 2 strikes to Sosa. Runner at third is Makarevich. Kozart's at second, and Butterworth at first. And a swing and a miss on the changeup, and there's the first out of the second inning.
Well done by Chandler Marsh. Not a whole lot of experience on the mound for him this year. Only 11 innings work. Bases loaded, no out situation. 7 runs already in. He gets a big first out here in the second inning.
And now Luke Nixon. Got to run home with a safety squeeze last time up. And you figure the Nixon boys are baseball players, it's in their blood. And Trout won the World Series with the Red Sox. Makes his home in Eastern North Carolina. And he lines this one to center field. 1 run will score. That'll be Makarevich. Kozart being waved home. And on his way to second, the throw is there. He is safe, and he beat the tag. Luke Nixon with 3 ribbies in the first 2 innings. That is a 2-run double for Nixon.
Well, and another NC State batter down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's 4 in this inning alone. He's either been 0-2 or 1-2 and found a way to get a base hit. And a really good job. Just kind of sticks his nose on a sinking fastball, lines it out towards center field. You talk about how to win a ball game, too. Luke Nixon came around first base. He's thinking about getting into second base. He's reading the throw from the center fielder. He takes an extra 90 feet. And I mean head first, a little backdoor slide towards center field and just gets that glove in there.
Corners are in for Matt Hebner. Singleton scored his first time up this inning. And the NC State carousel just keeps spinning. 9 runs on 10 hits this inning. Is the aggressive approach for NC State, even when down in the count, is that a blueprint for the entire team, or is this an individual approach?
To me, they were aggressive right out of the chute. And I don't blame them against Colton Smith. We talked about him being a strike thrower. You knew he was going to throw a lot of strikes. So NC State came out right away just hunting pitches that they wanted. But the impressive thing for me is, like, they have not missed them. Like, any ball that's been kind of left out over the plate, they found a way to put a barrel on it.
Here's the 1-1. Gonzalez tried to bring that one to the edge. 2 balls and a strike. Two-one pitch. Fly ball to shallow right. Goldstein will come in for this one. Butterworth at third, coming home. They came halfway to draw the throw. Well defended by the Dogs. 2 down. When did this inning start? I feel like it started on Thursday.
I mean, nobody saw this coming. I mean, Colton Smith in the first inning gave up 1 base hit, but he struck out 2. He looked really good, but things changed for him in the second inning.
No, Souls is the 14th batter of this inning for NC State. And a first pitch strike. Nine runs is framed. The most runs scored in any single inning of a super regional game is 13. That was by Auburn in 2019 against North Carolina. LSU scored 11 against Baylor in 03, and Duke in 19 scored 10 in the 8th inning against Vandy. Well, NC State on the verge of making some history here if they can extend it again with a 9-hole hitter Souls, who hit a bases clearing double his first time up and on the knees. This is the most prolific offensive inning for NC State in a super regional game in their school history. And a fly ball to left. Here's Chadwick, misjudged it, comes on and can't make the catch. 2 more runs scored, and racing for second is Noah Souls. He is driven in 5 in this inning. See if they rule that an error or a hit, depending on how the RBIs will be administered. But man, oh man, the run and the smiles continue for the Pack.
Pretty good pitch right here, and right off the end of the bat. Looked like Chadwick to me out left field. A little bit late jump, and he comes flying in. All he can do, and again, that ball hits in the glove too, but when he hits the ground, it pops out. I'm sure that'll go as a 2 RBI double.
Pitch is low and in. It goes as a hit indeed, and Eli Serrano back to the plate. And 3 different Wolfpack players have 2 hits in this inning.
Noah Souls down there in that 9-hole with 5 RBIs and 2 doubles on it.
Meanwhile, Serrano is a poster child for this reignition of the NC State offense. He's homered 3 times since the start of the ACC tournament. He entered the tournament with 5 on the year. Sitting on 8 now, had a 2-run home run earlier this frame. And the wheels have come flying off for Georgia. Line drive into right center. Dylan Carter lays out for it. It took an extra effort for Georgia to get out of this inning on a. Here's Slade Alford to lead off the second inning for Georgia. NC State has already sent 19 to the plate. Alford is the 4th Georgia batter to come to the dish. Up and away, 1-1.
And nothing changes for Sam Highfield, the starting pitcher for NC State. He still has a game plan. He's going to go out and execute that game plan, even with a big lead. The only difference is you may challenge within the strike zone a little bit more because you have room for error now.
Would that primarily come with the bases empty or at any moment with an 11-0 lead?
I think at any moment. I mean, what's going to get him in trouble is walks and free passes, right? I mean, that's what Georgia wants is base runners right now. They want to get a few base runners on and do what they do best and blow the ball out of the ballpark. So for him, it's about minimizing walks, challenging within the zone, maybe a little bit more than you typically would.
Georgia gets, on average, 8 1/3 free passes a game between walks and hit by pitch. They're 6th in the country in hit by pitch, 11th in the country in walks. Alford's got 16 home runs to his name, and he fouls one back. Here's a note from esteemed researcher Jeremy Mills. Only one team over the past 30 seasons has won an NCAA tournament game after trailing by double digits. That was in a wind-blown affair. Oklahoma State came back from down 12-0 after 1 inning to beat Missouri State 29-15 in their Stillwater Regional last year. And this ball's rocketed to the left center field. Serrano running catch. And by the way, that ballpark plays in Stillwater plays very similar to this one. That was a regional where the wind was blowing out. Everybody was putting up massive numbers throughout that entire regional. That was the highest scoring regional in NCAA history last year in Stillwater. Highfield's retired the first 4. Here's Trey Phelps.
Not much wind right now. It's kind of laid down, almost. It's almost steel.
Steel or aluminum?
Both.
Phelps looks at a breaking ball. I'm thinking, Ben, you should adopt the Trey Phelps look. Freshman from Kennesaw does not bother with the first few buttons.
I can't pull that off. Hey, whatever works for you.
This was his look in high school. He said they went to Texas A&M earlier this season. It was scorching hot. Fly ball to right field. 1 run for Souls, and he gets there with a sliding catch. 2 down. Anyway, he said my undershirt was already soaked. I figured lose the undershirt, unbutton the buttons, and boom, bat caught fire.
Yeah, if your bat catches fire, you're going to have a tendency to do the same thing over and over. Phelps had a wonderful year to this point. 355 coming in, 10 homers.
So here's Dylan Carter. Transfer from Texas Tech out of Argyle High School, Flower Mound, Texas. Carter finally back on the field. He was their starting center fielder early in the season. And if folks have followed SEC baseball throughout the course of the year, they remember the crazy game at Mississippi State where Johnny Long, the state catcher, had a collision at the plate with Carter. Ended up being about a 48-minute delay. They tossed out just about everybody on both sides. Georgia held on to win the game. But Carter injured his knee on the slide, and he missed the next 20 games. Plenty of postseason experience with Texas Tech, played in a couple of regionals and 1 super regional. The Tim Tadlock squad, that one away, 2-2. And Highfield gets the strikeout. He has retired all 6 that he's faced. And he's pitching with an 11-run lead. Nothing working for the Dogs today. It's all state early. Eastern start in Lexington tomorrow. That is awfully body clock friendly for the Beavers. The 9 Eastern start, 0-1 on the pitch to Garrett Pennington. Pennington singled and scored his last time up. Elsewhere around the country, Tennessee has a slim lead on Evansville, 5-4. Volunteers pulled away to knock off the Aces yesterday. Florida State hammered UConn yesterday. But the Huskies, with 9 Division III transfers, hanging in there today, 6-4 in the 6th in Tallahassee.
Yeah, the Purple Aces gave Tennessee all they wanted to about mid part of that ball game.
Chandler Marsh is the reliever for Georgia, entered in the second and gets a foul off. You played with a former Purple Ace back in your Olympic days, didn't you?
I didn't even know where Evansville was until I met Andy Bennis. And Andy Bennis was a roommate of mine on the Olympic team in '88. Of course, he was the first pick in the draft that year. We were roommates, and that's where I learned what Evansville was and about the Purple Aces. Good to see them doing what they're doing for sure. I know Andy Bennis is excited about it.
That's a pretty good room. A couple of first overall picks sharing the same room, huh?
That was a good experience. That was fun. I was an underclassman. I was just a sophomore going back to school. Of course, Andy Bennis and Ventura and Ed Sprague and Jim Abbott and all those guys had just been drafted. They were going to play pro ball after the Olympics.
Fly ball down the right field side, foul. That was in Seoul?
Seoul, South Korea. That's right. That's right. We had a big tour. Went to Japan a couple times, over to Italy for the World Games, and finally ended up in Seoul, Korea for the Olympics.
And was Tommy Lasorda the manager?
No, that was Mark Marquis
from
Stanford. Skip Bertman was the pitching coach.
Shallow right. Goldstein coming on. 1 down. That'll bring Alec Makarevich to the plate. I saw your buddy Robin Ventura last week in Stillwater.
Did you?
Yeah. He was pretty excited, but Oklahoma State hosting a regional for the 3rd straight season, lost their home regional for the 3rd consecutive season. Yeah. Florida came out of there, and the Gators get Clemson this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, the Gators, one of the final, I guess, last 4 in, but they're the kind of team you never know with them. They can get hot and get rolling.
Makarevich is 2 for 2 today. Low and in. Makarevich is from Lake Brantley High School, Longwood, Florida. Same program that produced pros Jason Varitek, Ricky Weeks, and Johnny Venners. Second team All ACC, and watches the fastball miss up, 3-0. You talked about the approach for Sam Highfield pitching with an 11-run lead. What about for Chandler Marsh on the other side of it? Not his doing. All the damage was pretty much done by the time he got in.
Yeah. You hope they got all their hits out of the way. And his job is just to stack a few zeros and just give his offense a chance. Just a chance to get a little momentum back in this ball game. And I'm not saying Wes Johnson's throwing off, but what he is doing is taking one of his guys, not one of his leverage guys right now, because we've seen this before. You know, you get behind early in the game 1 of this series, and you take some guys out of the bullpen that have significant roles for you throughout the year, and you just try to piece it together and hope your offense can get back into it. If they can't, then you still got your dudes for the final 2 games.
Well, just ask the third base dugout. Elliot Avent in his program went through that in 21 when they were on the road in Fayetteville. They lost 23-2. They got behind early, and he had a really tight pitching staff and a very tight rotation coming out of the bullpen. So saved his better arms for the last 2 games and upset the Hogs on their way to Omaha. To Goldstein at right. 2 down. We'll chat with NC State's head coach next half inning.
Yeah, I mean, look no further than the College World Series final last year. I mean, LSU wins game 1 in a one-run game, but then Florida comes out and wins, what, 23-4. LSU kind of threw off. They got behind early. They threw off a little bit. They saved some guys for the back end and then flipped the script on Florida in game 3 of the finals.
There's Jacob Cozart. We have a run rule in effect throughout the course of the regular season. Should that be introduced for the postseason?
I wouldn't mind seeing it, to be honest with you. I mean, you can save arms and kind of climb back in it if there is a run rule. And it's kind of odd that we do it in the regular season, but not in the postseason.
Of course, the argument against it would be when you're playing in a tournament, it would be unfair if one team only had to play 7 innings and use 7 innings worth of arms versus 9. My argument would be if you're able to win a game, I don't know, 24-4, you've earned the benefit of advantages.
Sure.
Cozart reached on a fielder's choice. His last time up, he's 0 for 2. And he takes a strike. He was laughing with us yesterday. He said, yeah, I guess I'm the runt of the family. He's 6'3", 222.
Yeah, but when you look at his siblings, he is kind of small compared to them.
The younger brother will be playing at Texas A&M, and you'll be hearing Cozart names in the draft the next couple of seasons, starting this summer with Jacob. Popped out of play. Older brother Caleb joked, I'm test 1, Jacob is test 2, and Sam, the younger brother committed to A&M, I should say, is the final product. And Jacob, a projected first-round pick. Sam is a top drop prospect for next year. He's 6'7", 235, and wears size 18 cleats. Just off the plate inside. Sam had been the #1 prospect in the country before he suffered an injury while weightlifting last April, but still ranked among the top 20 prep players. He has a fastball in the mid-90s. Payoff is rocketed deep to right field. It's going to leave the yard, and Jacob Cozart sends one into the trees, his 17th home run of the year.
Big ball there. I'm talking about stretching one out. Cozart, 17th homer, making his 51st RBI. Now a 12-0 lead on 13 hits. Pretty good move to the baseball right there. 3-2 count, looking fastball. He got one, but it wasn't over the heart of the plate. That ball's kind of on the inner third, maybe a little bit further in than that. But Cozart does a really good job of getting the barrel to it.
Bottom half of the order for NC State. You want to extend it from the cleanup hitter on down, is just doing damage. 8 for 10 with 7 runs and 9 ribbies. It has turned into a walk in the park for NC State. 12-0. Butterworth is a junior from Monroe, North Carolina. Started his career as Catamount at Western Carolina. He was on the Raleigh regional team. Sitting on 7 home runs this season. He had 1 home run his senior season of high school. Same high school that produced former Tar Heel quarterback Sam Howell, now with Seattle. Three and 1. Butterworth is 2 for 2, couple of runs scored. Everybody in the NC State lineup has scored a run, and everybody has produced a hit, and now a walk. And that is the first walk of the game. Oh, pardon me. 3 and 2. Butterworth was anxious for that first walk. He had a crystal ball. He was just a pitch ahead.
Take a look at Jacob Kozar. 3-2 pitch right here, fastball. Look where this ball is. I mean, it is well on the inside part of the plate, but no problem for him. Boy, he knew it as soon as it touched the heart of his bat. He had home run number 17 on the year.
So a run already in here in the third, and 1 run on with 2 outs for Alex Sosa. Sosa, true freshman, turned down the draft last year, was taking phone calls in the 5th round, turned down 7 figures to stay with NC State. He committed to State when he was a freshman in high school at 5'7", 160 pounds. And part of that reason he said he's stuck with NC State is other schools said I was too small, so I fell in love with the pack. And he developed into an All-American player. Played in the Under Armour All-America game at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, coming out of Vieira High School. 2-1. When were you last 5'7"?
I'm gonna say about 12. I didn't have that one growing spurt like a lot of people do. I just kept on going.
So your pants never fit?
No. My mom used to get so mad at me. Tennis shoes and pants. I mean, it seemed like buy a new pair of shoes and, 6 months later, it's like, all right, Mom, my toes are crunched up. She's like, there's no way. Of course, I had the water pants, get a little bit longer. She used to buy my pants longer. They were really long, and she'd buy them. And
you have to grow into them.
Yeah, about a year later, they'd fit pretty good.
Runner on the move on the 2-2, and it's fouled off.
NC State does not run a whole lot, about like Georgia. Actually, a lot. They run a little bit more than what Georgia hardly runs at all, but only 43 stolen bases on the year for NC State. But Butterworth's one of those guys. He's the only guy, 2 guys in double digits in steals. He's got 13.
The pitch outside. If you're Elliott Avent, at what point do you feel really comfortable about a 12-0 lead in this ballpark? And I would suppose if the wind doesn't change, which we're really not seeing much of it, this park is a lot less threatening. On the move again, swing again, and it's to Alford at second. And that'll close the inning for NC State, but they get another run across. And it paid off big time in this second inning. Was that a team-wide game plan to be that aggressive against Colton Smith?
No, we've had good at-bats the last probably 8 or 10 weeks. We've got more discipline, got more into our approaches, and we had some balls fall. It wasn't all hard hit balls, but those 2 big bunts by Hebner and Luke Nixon, I thought, is what set the table for everything that got damaged.
I agree. I mean, that's what surprised. I mean, you guys don't have a ton of bunts on the year, but it seems like the small ball is what got that inning going a little bit, and then the big hits came after that.
Absolutely. They, like I said, Hebner and Luke Nixon did a great job of those bunts, and then we just had great at-bats around that. Everybody put together. Eli Serrano had some great at-bats. Everybody put some good at-bats together and made him work a little bit. And then we got, like I said, we got a couple lucky hits and a couple bleeders, and you know how that's frustrating. And it was just a really big inning.
Elliott, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Great visit with Elliott yesterday after NC State's during the batting practice, and the ground ball to third. Makarevich, 1 down. And one of the things Elliott just kind of volunteered, he said, listen, I don't know if this is going to be the last run for me. This could be it. Some days I wake up and think, okay, I've had enough. Other days I wake up and say, let's keep going. Let's do it again. But if it is the sunset of his career, 36 years as a head coach, 28 at NC State. Had a guy like Trey Turner in 2013, helped him to Omaha, then did it again in 21. Had Carlos Rodon. I mean, they have had some real talent come through that program.
No doubt. I mean, you look at the wins for his career, 1,240 victories in 36 years. Of course, in his 28th year, he's head coach of NC State. Well, he's always fun to talk to. No nonsense. Going to tell you what's on his mind.
Yes, that's true. he was giggling a little bit. He met with the media scrum right after batting practice and came back over and was chatting with us and said, nobody asked me what I thought about the ballpark. And the feeling I got at the moment, and now up 12-0, it's entirely different, was there was a little bit of trepidation playing in this ballpark against this lineup.
Yeah, how could it not be? I mean, you talked about the numbers for Georgia at this ballpark long. We know what they've done all year long, but at this ballpark, they've even been twice as good as what they've been on the road. And the way the ball, and look, if you were here yesterday watching BP, I mean, balls were flying out of here like guys were hitting from second base. You know, so he was a little bit concerned.
Full count now to Clayton Chadwick.
I tell you what, he's got the right guy on the bump in Sam Highfield. We talked about so many big situations for him throughout his career. Fifth-year senior, pitched in the regionals, super regionals, College World Series, a little bit of everything, and he knows how to navigate through a lineup. We was talking to Sam Highfield yesterday. He said, "You know what? I'm a tinkerer in some ways." Remember, he told us he changed his grip on his curveball, 2 or 3 different times, on his breaking ball, just to kind of get an idea of, what pitch is going to get. He finally landed on a breaking ball that gives him a little bit of more of a sweeper kind of sensation, where the ball's got a little bit more right to left in it than what it does overall.
First 7 retired by Sam Highfield here. And sharply hit the third, bobbled a little bit. Makarevich takes care of it. Yeah, a lot of guys tinker with the grip and kind of figure out what works for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, with all the analytics and the numbers and the shapes that we have with the pitch track and the data and all those kind of things, a lot of guys are starting to tinker a little bit because we know now what shapes and what spins get guys out, at the professional level and here at the college level. So you talk about the breaking ball, and we talk about Highfield. He used to throw more of a spike curve ball, then he kind of went to a spike slider, but he finally landed on a pitch where he's getting actually more right to left, more horizontal than he is in depth. And that's kind of been the new pitch in Major League Baseball really the last couple of years, is that more of a sweeping type breaking ball where it kind of stays on plane, but it's got a lot of right to left in it.
I think what would be interesting for viewers is that the change in the grip seems very minor, but it's not just the change in the grip, it's also the release point that allows him to get the action. What was the difference in the spike curveball versus the spike slider?
I mean, his spike curveball, he said he wanted to get more on top of it and spin it more like this, where the ball's got a lot of depth to it. And he said it was a good pitch for him, remember, but he said, I just couldn't control it enough in the strike zone. So I went to more of a spike-type slider where the break was a little bit less. I felt like I could control it a little bit more, and I actually got the shape that I wanted. And there it is again. I mean, it's got some depth to it, but it's a little bit more horizontal than it is vertical, is what I would say.
Talking with both him and the Georgia hitters, they talk about learning the shape of the pitch. Georgia hitters spend a lot of time using the technology that allows them to see the pitches and to fix the metrics based on what the opposing pitcher has done. And it's less about velocity. It's sometimes less about scouting report, how often they throw it. But they say, like Charlie, kind of, I want to see the shape of that breaking ball. And that way I can recognize it quickly.
Yeah, they try to recognize spin when they can, but they got these pitching machines now where no matter who you're facing, you can almost dial up the spin rate, the shape of all the breaking balls. And so as a hitter, you get a chance to kind of visualize what kind of shapes and pitches you're going to get, because those new pitching machines can almost mimic the exact break, the exact velocity of who you're going to face. And that's a big advantage for hitters to kind of know. And then, of course, there's so much data that goes into certain sequences and what do they throw 1-0, what's the pitch 0-2. Yeah. And they got to remember all those things as well, because there's so much information out there now for hitters.
A little bit different back in your day. They just roll the pitching machine out, and if it was somebody crazy, maybe they'd put it on curveballs.
Well, yeah. Our data was, and what we figured out was, if I threw this pitch and it got hit off the wall a couple times, I knew that probably wasn't a good pitch. But if I threw another pitch and I got some swings and misses, you kind of thought, okay, this pitch is going to play pretty good. So the hitter would let you know back in my time whether the pitch was any good. Now it's a little bit different.
To the left side and under the glove of the shortstop, Brandon Butterworth, and Georgia's got its first hit of the game on a 2-out single in the 3rd inning off the bat of Colby Branch. Yeah, you guys measured exit velocity by how it sounded going past your ear?
How far it went and how it sounded. Our term was, he got all of that one.
Dogs get their first hit of the game, and the lineup turns over for Corey Collins. He was one of the hitters we talked to yesterday about this approach that they have in terms of the information that's valuable. And every hitter is certainly different.
Yeah, I mean, look, some hitters want all the information. They want to know, okay, what's the counts? What's he throwing this count? What's the shape? Other hitters don't want as much information. They just want to, okay, fastball, breaking ball, changeup.
School record hit by pitches for Corey Collins this season. 27 of them. Coincidentally, the major league record for hit by pitches in a career set by Huey Jennings, 287 times, played in the late 1890s. He was Georgia's baseball coach from 95 to 99. It'd be 1895 to 99. The ball didn't hurt as bad back then. It had been in play for 3 months.
You also didn't have elbow guards and shin guards and all those things too. And back in the 18, I don't think they even had helmets either. It was just you up there in the ball cap.
It was a squish ball.
until it hit you.
Twelve of Collins' 19 home runs have come here at Foley Field. That pitch is away. And there are 2 on for Charlie Condon.
Just what Georgia needs to do, right? Base runners and hope you blow one out of the ballpark. You got a guy coming to the plate here that certainly knows how to blow one out of the ballpark.
Only twice before has a hitter led the nation in average and home runs. That's where Charlie Condon stands. He went 5 for 10 in the regional and was intentionally walked 4 times. Cozart with a visit for Sam Highfill. I'm sure this is scouting report related, right? Condon tied the single game school record for home runs with 3 of them against Mississippi State, in showing the all-around hitter that he was. He hit 1 to left, 1 to center, and 1 to right. 6'6", 216 in the first offering low.
And has put on a lot of weight since coming to campus a few years back.
Yeah, he came in at 195.
Still got a ways to go. He'd still like to put on another 10 or 15 pounds.
Branch and Collins aboard for him. And runs inside.
And that's what Sam Highfield will do right there. He'll show you a little bit different arm angle from time to time. He'll drop down to the right-handers. Throw that fastball in. He'll drop down and throw a breaking ball. Give you a little bit different look.
Two and one.
That's the difference right there. If it was a 1-0 game, there's no way that Charlie Condon gets a 2-0 fastball right down the middle. But when you're up by 12.
One of 3 finalists for the Golden Spikes Award is the College Baseball Player of the Year. Into center, Serrano backtracking, and with no wind, the park is playing large today. No runs, a hit, a couple.
I guess that's my favorite thing, is to see kids' eyes light up and see their dreams come true in Omaha.
Luke Nixon leads off the 4th for NC State. And the steaks, and you also like the steaks.
I don't mind the food.
You had a tomahawk ribeye one night, and the bone was longer than your arm.
That was a long. I mean, they had 2 plates just to fit it on. It felt like they brought it out on a platter.
Got underneath it, skies it to the right side.
I know I embarrassed you that night because I was eating the meat off the bone, but I couldn't help it. That's the best flavor there is. Speaking of eating, how about that? How about a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Get you a little protein, get a little energy. Man, the game's changed. All we got was, look at this.
That is a setup.
Build your own.
You know, when Michael Jordan was playing in the minors, that Birmingham team, Double-A in the Southern League, went to Nashville for a series, and his old buddy Buzz Peterson came to join him. This is a fly ball to center. And Buzz was hanging around the ballpark, and Michael got done with BP, and he said, Buzz, why don't you come in the clubhouse? Let's have a minor league steak before the game. Yeah, sure, let's go in there. And they pop into the clubhouse in Nashville. MJ goes over to the table, makes himself a PB&J. Says, make yourself one. We got minor league steaks all throughout this clubhouse.
Minor league steak.
Here's Noah Souls. And what a start to this game for Noah Souls. And Elliott Avent is going to slow down the rhythm of Chandler Marsh. Doesn't want to give him anything easy. NC State hasn't yet been retired in order. Not bad for Souls, huh? The start to this game.
Yeah, I'd say so. 2 for 2, couple of doubles, 5 RBIs. And it has been up and down this lineup.
Connecticut has come back to tie Florida State 7 apiece. They're now in the 8th inning at Dick Howser Stadium in Tallahassee. If you're unfamiliar, the visiting team gets to bat last in game 2 of each 3-game Super Regional. So the Huskies still have a couple of opportunities left. And Evansville has reclaimed the lead on Tennessee, up 6-5.
Wow.
Last check. They're in the 6th inning in Knoxville. Two balls and a strike to Noah Souls. 19th round pick of the Diamondbacks, coming out of Ledford High School. Turned them down to come to NC State. Last year he had a 300 hitter, and he rockets this one foul. Average has dipped about 90 points this season. Sophomore year hit 321. Had to deal with some injuries this year. And we were talking with Elliott about his team yesterday. The first word he used was resilient. Ooh, curveball just missed. That looked like a Ben McDonald curveball.
Pretty good breaking ball right there. And a better take by Noah Souls. You're talking about seeing it good right now. Oh, hung up just a little bit.
Spoiled the other way. Into right. Goldstein towards foul territory, now in a dead sprint, and that one carries all the way towards the bullpen. Souls back to the dish. Had a 3-run double in the 2nd inning, and then a 2-run double later in the 2nd inning. He had a high ankle sprain against Notre Dame. They offered him tightrope surgery. He went with that to get back on the field. And he sends this one into right center field. Carter lays out again. It's been the lone highlight for Georgia this season.
And that 11-run inning.
First double-digit inning of runs since April of 23 against Davidson. Here's Dylan Goldstein.
These first games of these Super Regionals are so important. Was it about 78% of teams that win game 1 win the series?
That's the number. What role does pressure play into that?
Look, there's always pressure. When you get to this point, you can almost taste Omaha. You know you're just a couple of wins away from getting there. So I think there's always pressure. The question is who can find a way to relax? Who can find a way to relax and do the things you've done all year long? Because it's just different when you get to this part. This point in time in the season, it's just a little bit different. Game starts to speed up a little bit in some ways.
Swing and a miss by Goldstein. And here in this ballpark where the wind has just picked up. Just low, and a full count now. was looking at the home run totals nationally, and Georgia with 101 here at this ballpark. Just playing home games, Georgia would be 32nd in the country in home runs, tied with South Carolina.
Wow. I mean, for the season, they're averaging a little over 2.5 home runs per game is what Georgia's average for the season.
It's an explosive offense in the first year of this new coaching staff. And ironically enough, led by a guy in head coach Wes Johnson, who is a pitching coach. A roped foul. Well, Coggin is the hitting coach on this team. Josh Simpson and Brock Bennett also on the staff. Coggin knows the SEC well. Came from Kentucky, where he was an assistant to Nick Mingione, and he played at Mississippi State. Lifted down the left field line. Long run for Luke Nixon. Into foul territory, and he makes a catch as he meets the fence.
Celtics won game one big, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to ask about the Canadian Grand Prix. You think they'd allow your truck in the Canadian Grand Prix?
I don't
Just
think
put
so.
a pickup truck out there.
I got a chip in it, though. It'll go pretty fast. I don't know if it'll go that fast, but I'd be in the hunt for a while till turn one.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to handle the corners. Slade Alford at the plate, Mississippi State transfer.
That big diesel truck of mine's not too good at the turns. It's good on the straightaways.
I don't think you would fit in an F1 car.
No way. I got in a few NASCARs one time and got in Michael Waltrip's one. Waltrip was a big guy. You know, Michael Waltrip 6'4", so like he's a giant for a NASCAR race. And so I got set in his seat one time. I could barely fit in that one, but man.
Well, you just sat in it, or
Yeah,
you took it for a lap?
No, he wouldn't let me take it for. They wouldn't let me take it for a ride. I wanted to.
0-2 pitch is lifted to right. Souls has plenty of space. Now he's got chases. The wind pushes. 2 down. You know, you're already in there. They weren't going to catch you if you just
They wouldn't
fired
give me,
that
you know
bad
how
boy
the
up.
steering wheel pops in and out. They wouldn't give me the steering wheel.
Oh, that's like taking away a football player's helmet, right? Like, yeah, no. You can't drive without the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Here's Trey Phelps. He got going late in the season. The freshman from Kennesaw had a trip down at South Carolina. He hit 4 home runs and drove in 9 over the weekend. Included a pair of home runs in the Thursday opener. And he had really been struggling at the plate up until that point. He was hitting in the 260s. Had only homered 3 times. Then in a 14-game stretch, he homered 5 times and hit 4 doubles. He was a big-time recruit. He was on Team USA's 18 and under national team. Rated the number 2 third base in the country. Number 2 third baseman coming out of high school. Played in the Perfect Game All-American Classic. That one was at Chase Field in Phoenix, where his aunt Angel Robinson plays in the WNBA with the Phoenix Mercury. We're just one button away from being unsuitable for afternoon television. Chopped up the middle. Had him played well. Hebner comes around it. 1-2-3 frame for the 3rd inning for NC State. We've already seen some college players who were key prospects last year, especially those in the College World Series, rocket to the big leagues. Of course, Wyatt Langford of Florida made the Rangers opening day roster and was in the lineup. Didn't take him long to get in the 3-hole in that lineup before he got injured. Paul Skeens is now up with the Pirates, and last year's #1 for Florida. Hurston Waldrop, who pitched in the College World Series Finals, will be called up to the Braves today.
Shonowell, too. Shonowell, drafted by the Angels. He's in the big leagues.
Yep. Waldrop's jumping to the Braves from Career high 11 strikeouts in AAA last time out.
What is it? 54% of Major League rosters this year, the season began, made up of college kids. 54% when you include junior college and college players.
There's a strike, 2-2. Why has that number grown so much over the years?
I just think going to college is the fastest way to the big leagues. I mean, it's proven itself year after year, you know, and I think the college game continues to grow. A lot of more kids want that college experience. Now, if you're a first-round draft pick, there's no way I can tell you to turn down the money that's out there right now. If you're a first-rounder.
And an opposite field shot off the bat of Serrano, his second hit. And he's going to race for second, and he is there, feet first. Leadoff double for Eli Serrano III.
Well, I tell you what, NC State, we talked about, they don't steal a lot of bases, but what they do well, and we've seen it so far in this game, they take an extra 90 when they can. They'll go first to third. They'll run right in your face in the outfield. Just because you don't have a lot of stolen bases don't mean you can't. He's thinking one thing. Ball gets in the gap right here. He's going to have a big turnaround first base, and he's thinking, I got to find a way to get to second base, and he does it easily.
And now Garrett Pennington, after the second extra base hit for Serrano, hit number 14 already for North Carolina State. You had an opportunity to go pro coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I got drafted by the Braves out of high school and thought about it, but I just wanted that college experience. I wanted to go play college baseball, play college basketball, and it was tempting to go. But I'm so glad I didn't now. You know, now the experience I got in college, getting to play in the College World Series, getting to play in the Elite Eight in basketball. Those are just memories that, you know, playing on an Olympic team.
It's a well pitch.
I mean, honestly, at 18 years old, man, I didn't feel like I was mature enough to go do that and be out on my own yet. Like I needed to go to school, and I think a lot of kids are like that now. The minor league life is a tough life.
Popped up to the right side. Collins takes charge and takes it in for the first out. I feel like the evolution of the college game, there's so many major programs now drawing revenue with baseball, and the budget improvements, whether it be facilities, not for the fans, we're talking about facilities for the players, with pitching labs and first-class travel with charter flights and dietitians that they work with.
Yeah, look,
there ain't no charter flights in the Carolina League.
No chartered flights, a lot of bus trips. And that's the thing, you can develop now at these schools because of the technology that, you know, there was a time when just the pro guys had all the TrackMan data and the pitch shapes and all those kind of things. But now with the pitching labs that are out there and the equipment that these college programs have, you can develop your pitching just as well as you can in the minor leagues right now.
Alek Makarevich, 6'2", 234. Fouls one back. "20 home runs in the season to lead NC State. He's homered from both sides of the plate in a game twice this season. Once against UNC Wilmington, another time against Hawaii. NC State started the season right after Valentine's Day at home against VCU. Then they jumped on a plane and flew out to Hawaii for a 3-game series. Won 2 out of 3. Did you ever play in Hawaii?
Summer League. The Alaskan Summer League, we went out to Hawaii.
Wait, the Alaskan Summer League went to Hawaii?
Yeah, we took a trip out there. A long trip out there.
It was one confused suitcase. First you pack for Alaska, then you pack for Hawaii. Makarevich is 2 for 3. Out of back. Georgia's bullpen swinging into action. Jarvis Evans. It seems like a very inefficient use of your time to be in the Alaskan Summer League and to take time then to get to the airport, to get on a plane, to fly all the way to Hawaii.
Look, when you're 18, 19 years old, you don't care. You're just going somewhere to play ball. Weather was great.
You should put a map together. A lot of people, when they travel, they put pins in the map of every place they've been, every place you've played baseball. From South Korea to Hawaii to Alaska. Swing and a miss for Makarevich. It's a team that doesn't strike out very often. Their 4th K of the day. Second from Marsh, 2 down, and Cozart coming up. Talking about the Cozart family, his first time up, Mom Michelle was a volleyball standout at UCF. They went 55-0 during her 4 years in conference play. She was also recruited hard as a hurdler and a basketball player. Mom Michelle and his dad Craig met during a freshman math class at UCF in the fall of '92. 1-1. It was '92. They started dating in '93. They were married in '97. Shortly after, Craig was drafted by the Giants, coming out of UCF in '96. He was a head coach at High Point for 13 years. Up and into Cozart. A great story from Walter Villa of D1Baseball.com that talks about the Cozart family following the boys around. About weekend action. They put 210,000 miles on their Toyota Sienna minivan. There's some worn out seats to the right field. Serrano around third. He'll be waved home. And another ribby for Jacob Cozart. He's driven in a pair.
Boy, NC State has been on fire offensively today. They just don't miss. I mean, they foul off tough pitches, and when they get something over the white part of the plate, it tends to find the barrel. Trying to get this fastball down and away. It never got there. It just set right in the heart of the plate. A mistake. That's putting a barrel on one. Serrano easily scores from second base.
Here's Brandon Butterworth. 13-0 NC State. Wes Johnson got his guys together after the top of the second inning when Georgia fell behind 11-0. Had a little chat with him. Probably a reminder that this is a 3-game series. They have a dangerous offense and come back.
Yeah, and if you can't come all the way back, what you can do is get that NC State bullpen a little bit and make them use some arms up. And sometimes you might lose game one, but you could win the series if you put a little offense together and force the back end of that bullpen for NC State to get going.
A little dribbler up the line will stay foul.
I tell you what, Sam Highfield has just been too good so far for NC State on the bump.
Great visit with Sam yesterday. Elliott was talking about that start he made in Fayetteville. He said, you know, here we are in Fayetteville. He's a freshman. They already smoked us by 20 runs the day before, and he's got 18,000 people swinging, screaming "Woo Pig Suey" at him for 3 hours. Pitch to Butterworth is launched but foul. Will hit the bleachers down the left side, or just past it. 2-2. How do you value experience for a guy like Highfield?
I think it's invaluable. I think when you've been there before and you've pitched in these big moments, you talk about slowing your heartbeat down and getting these big games like he's in. When you've been there before, you just have a way of relaxing. Say, okay, this is something that I've experienced before. I've been there before. I've had success.
Butterworth chased the fastball up. It's a third strikeout from Chandler Marsh, but the Pack adds another run on a couple of hits.
I have a feeling he wouldn't mind being there, though. Got a couple base hits. He's like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen again.
I mean, he didn't just get a couple base hits. He got hits against Kumar Rocker.
Yeah, it wasn't like a first rounder. Guy that was, what, a top 5 pick that year. Yeah, that was a crazy time.
Swing and a miss for Dylan Carter. You know, we didn't really talk to Elliott about it yesterday, but you wouldn't blame him if there was some animosity in those bones towards the decision makers that cost him an opportunity. They're one win away from the College World Series Finals.
Yeah.
We know how hard it is to win a national championship or even to get to that opportunity to play for one.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, Coach Elliott's been coaching. This is his 36th year. He's been to 2 College World Series. You know, those opportunities don't come along very often. You know.
Carter goes down looking. This is second K for Sam Highfield. Again, the time before, you needed guys like Trey Turner on your roster to make it.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, that's a pretty good pitch right there. 4-seam fastball, but it kind of runs back. Starts on the inside part of the plate. That ball leaks back from left to right. Dylan Carter caught looking.
And here's Fernando Gonzalez. And Gonzalez rips one down the left field line. Second hit of the game for the Dogs. And this will be their first extra base hit. Took a wild bounce around Nixon in the corner. And a comfortable double for Gonzalez.
Yeah, Gonzalez wasting no time. First ball, fastball hunting. And if I'm hitting, that's what I'm looking for, too. Because Sam Highfield, obviously a big lead, so he's going to try to get ahead with a lot of fastballs because he throws mostly fastballs. And another ball that kind of runs back a little bit left to right and right into the barrel. But Gonzalez, stand-up double for him. This ball did take a funny hop right off the wall. Almost shot by Luke Nixon, the left fielder.
It's like playing racquetball down there. You ever play racquetball?
I have.
Squash, pickleball?
I haven't played pickleball yet. I want to get into that. I think my wingspan would be an advantage up near the net.
You'd be all up in the kitchen. Here's Clayton Chadwick. He's 0 for 1 to the ground out to third. Oddly enough, we're at Chuck's Fish last night. Fantastic dinner. Had an adult male named Critter. Critter was told that we were calling the game, and he said, y'all the umps?
Yeah, he thought we were the umpires. I said, that's going to be tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're just going to be the broadcasters.
Whatever it takes. Rick Allen's got the mask on today.
A little cooler up here than what it is down there.
That's right. We don't need sunscreen up here. Chuck's was popping last night.
A lot of people, a lot of folks here in Athens.
Noon start again tomorrow on ESPNU.
I mean, Kudzu Hill is full. I mean, look at the folks up there. In right field, right behind the wall, then going up the hill in right field.
One out walk. Puts Chadwick aboard and brings Colby Branch to the plate. And College World Series begins Friday, June 14th, 45th consecutive year. It's on ESPN. And the finals start June 22nd in Omaha. 2x4.
Yeah.
And started taking some wide, wild swings like he was Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah. Because if Joey would have got to him, I'm afraid it would have been ugly. The guy was retreating. He was talking a lot of smack until Bell went over the fence, and then he became retreat mode. And you're not climbing that hill too fast.
No. Colby Branch, the 9-hole hitter, has got a hit for Georgia, and he pops this one up, and it will find a roof.
Colby Branch, pretty good weapon down in your 9-hole. 17 long balls on the year.
Of those 17 have come home. Foul territory. Makarevich charging in and takes over for the second out.
You know, Georgia put up some runs in their regional here in Athens last weekend. 8 against Army, 11 against UNC Wilmington, and 8 against Georgia Tech. But hitting in runners in scoring position, they were off a little bit from what they normally do. They were only 8 for 35 hitting with runners in scoring position in that regional last weekend. They've had a couple opportunities today, but just so far hadn't come up with a big base hit.
Here's Corey Collins, 0 for 1 to the ground out to third. And he drew a walk his last time up, nation's best on base percentage. Interesting talking to Corey about his approach on changing the stance had such a dramatic effect on his ability to get on base. 1-1. Do you agree with Corey that it's hard for college pitchers to pitch inside?
100%. I think he's doing what more college kids should do, is get your toes up on the plate, take away the inside part of the plate, and look for the ball middle away.
And he rips it to right field. Around third is Gonzalez. Georgia will be on the board finally in a 13-1 game. Collins drives him home with his first hit of the game.
No, Corey Collins doing what Corey Collins does. Gets those toes up on the plate, looks for the ball middle away, and he got one here. Watch where this ball is. Supposed to be away, but you could almost couldn't set it on a tee any better than that. Right down the heart of the plate. He doesn't miss many of those. Boy, the shift was on, but he beats the shift with a rocket out to right field, and Georgia on the scoreboard here in the fifth.
And now Charlie Condon with another opportunity. He was at the plate with 2 on in the third and flew out to center field. Upstairs to Condon.
Corey Collins over at first base. He's not going to get picked off. Matter of fact, if he dove back, he'd land in the coach's box.
Just off the plate away. Our buddy Lawrence Smith wrote a great article on Charlie Condon. Referred to him as Ozark Ike, the old comic book character that played every sport, did everything. It was just a natural. Charlie was a high school quarterback. Catches the outside edge. He said, you know, we ran in a lot of slots, got rid of the ball quickly. Our offensive line won the biggest. And they sure didn't want Charlie Condon taking a hit.
Yeah, when you're 6'5", 6'6", and what was he weighing in high school? About $180 maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
You don't want to take many hits. You want to get it out of your hand pretty quickly.
Upstairs. There's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And that'll bring Dylan Goldstein to the plate.
Boy, Georgia needs that big blow. That's what they're missing. What they've done well all year long, hit the ball out of the ballpark. They could use one right now.
And foul back. Goldstein ground out and a pop-up.
Well, Sam Highfield now, 15 starts on the year. He's only averaged 5 innings per start. That's what he's averaged over the course of the season so far. That's kind of right where he is right now. Pitch count starting to get up a little bit.
Approaching the century mark now with the bases loaded. And that one's pulled foul. He's gone over the century mark 3 times this season, including a season on 117 in his 7-inning start against Duke back on March 22nd.
Yeah, his best start of the year, you mentioned it, was probably against Notre Dame. He went 8 innings, shutout ball, didn't walk a batter, punched out 10.
Yeah, it took a perfect game into the 6th.
Threw 110 pitches in that outing. If you're head coach Elliott Avent, you'd like to get all you could out of him.
They only used 3 relievers in their 3 games in the Raleigh region. '95th pitch of the game from Highfield coming with the bases loaded to Dylan Goldstein. Grounded to the right side. The shift was on, and Hebner makes an easy play of it. Georgia gets 1 across, but after 2 hits and a couple of walks, they strand.
In the third, fastball, changeup, curveball, and a slider. Probably his best pitch is that changeup. It's got a 50% swing and miss, which is big time. It's heavy fastball and changeup, mostly for Jarvis Evans.
Was the Doran Chandler Marsh, who allowed 3 runs, 2 earned over 4 innings of relief following Colton Smith. Failed to record an out in the second. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ten runs allowed by Colton Smith. Matches the most by an SEC starter this season. Gunnar Dennis of Ole Miss suffered the same fate against Tennessee in late March.
Boy, and Smith has been so good. Only had 3 starts on the year coming in. But those 3 starts were against some pretty good offenses in A&M, Florida. UNC had a 3 ERA in 18 innings of work as a starter, but not the same today.
Turned on and pulled foul. By the way, UConn trying to walk off Florida State. They already have a walk-off win to their name in the regional. They have 9 Division III transfers on that team. That is a way to rebuild and get some experience for you. Wind is blowing in now here in Athens, and the pitch is low. And Hunter throws it down to first to Charlie Condon. Numerous defensive changes for Georgia here in the top of the 6th inning. Now Charlie Condon moves across the diamond from third to first. His buddy Corey Collins moves from first to right, chasing Dylan Goldstein out of the game. And Murillo now at third with Hunter catching. Up the middle, and a knock for Luke Nixon. Here's Matt Hebner. He's 1 for 3 today. UConn couldn't get it done in the 9th. They go to extras in Tallahassee. You believe in serendipity? Karma? Any of that stuff?
Yeah.
I feel like Florida State wins that game in the 11th.
Just a wonderful game, isn't it? You just get boat race one day and be in it the next. And it's.
Wow, pitch moves Nixon to second. Why does that happen, you think?
I just think it's baseball. I think baseball is just a different game. And we talked about the College World Series finals last year. You know, 1-run game. Florida wins by 20, it felt like, in game 2. Then LSU comes back and wins by 20 in game 3. You just, every day's different. And the cool thing about this time of year is what you've done at this point doesn't mean anything at all. You know, and some of these teams get into this point in the season playing on house money. When you play with house money sometimes, you're dangerous. When you're not supposed to be there, like Evansville, for instance. Nobody gave Evansville a chance. But yet here they are, and you catch fire. And it's about, like NC State, getting hot at the right time and peaking at the right time. And when you can do that, but we saw it in Major League Baseball last year. Let's not forget the 3 teams that won the most games last year, the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Orioles. None of the 3 got out of the first round of the playoffs because none of the 3 were playing their best baseball at the end. They ran into teams that were really hot at the time. And so that's what separates baseball, I think, from a lot of other sports. It's about getting hot at the right time, getting a little bit of confidence going, and NC State's a perfect example of that. I mean, they were, as you just kind of puddling along, as you said, and all of a sudden you got to face the meat of your schedule coming up, and they just went to work. And when you start winning series against teams that are still in this NCAA tournament, the top 16, it gives you a lot of confidence.
Noah Souls at the plate. He's got 2 doubles and 5 ribbies. Yeah, it's not like they feasted on a bunch of cupcakes when they were able to turn things around, but the struggles included losing a series to Georgia Tech and then being swept by Louisville in a week where they also lost to East Carolina. Then came the Clemson series, won that one. North Carolina series, won that one. Swept a good Ball State team in out-of-conference play. Split with Florida State in a weather situation where they only played 2. Went to Charlottesville, won 2 out of 3 against UVA. Swept Wake Forest. It's just an incredible run for him right now.
And I think that was the message from head coach Elliott Avent, right? Hey, we can't control what's happened. We can only control moving forward. That's the only thing we can control at that point. So forget about what you've done to this point. Let's focus on what you're going to do from this point forward.
Evans delivers a strike, 3-1. Here comes the runner home on a bad throw back, and NC State gets another. What happened with Henry Hunter just said?
I want to say he hit the batter. Hebner standing in the box, and when Henry Hunter got ready to throw it back to the pitcher, I think it hits right here. Watch this. Yeah, right off the helmet. Shoots out towards shortstop. Boy, Georgia just can't get anything going today.
It'll be an error charge to Henry Hunter. And the 3-1 pitch is in for a strike. Using your head, Noah Souls.
Defense has not been on point for Georgia, obviously, today.
By the way, I think that same play happened in a World Series not too many years ago with a throwback hit off the bat and led to a run.
And you get a left-handed hitter that stands in there, of course, a right-handed throwing catcher, which you always see. And sometimes, I mean, the hitter doesn't have to get out of the way. He's digging in the box, staying in the box. Ball goes off of him.
To the right side. Branch takes care of it. But another run scores on a hit and an error. Middle of the 6th, 14-1. Post. And can I only get it on Sunday? And then as the conversation continued, he said, well, can you guys point me to the best fish and chips? And the media in London seemingly didn't know how to handle it. They're like, wait, we're having a conversation with this guy? We're supposed to just be peppering him with questions. Sunday roast is kind of like Christmas dinner light, right? You got the meat, the roasted veggies, the roasted potatoes, maybe some Yorkshire pudding on the side.
And Pete
You've
Alonso
spent some time over
looks
there.
looks like he could put away some stuff. Yeah, my daughter went to school over there for a year, so I went over there and visited.
Do you remember having a Sunday roast?
I don't. All I remember is just being freaked out we rented a car.
Hold on. Why did you rent a car? Did you really have that far to drive? You couldn't just
Yeah, I went out to Stonehenge.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, then
I
you
had to
would
see
need a
that,
car.
man. I love that kind of stuff. Just a bunch of rocks out in the middle of nowhere, but it's really cool. You sit there and wonder, how in the heck did they get all these heavy rocks out here and why?
Alford dumps it into the corner. And the throw from Souls is just a little bit wide, and Slade Alford's got a leadoff double here in the 6th. There's a Stonehenge here. You can go visit Stonehenge.
That's
here
what
in
they told me, yeah.
So Ben McDonald was driving around London on the wrong
side of the road, man. Just freaked out.
Feel
Normally
like
I like to drive.
Like a postal
Yeah, normally I
service?
like to drive fast, but I was just taking my time, just to make sure.
Please tell me you took a tour and you said, hey, look, honey, Big Ben.
Well, we saw it. We saw Big Ben. I love Stonehenge, though. We spent the whole day there, walking around, checking it out.
I filled sitting on 99 pitches. How was the fish and chips? You have fish and chips?
I don't remember what I ate. I remember the food was good, though.
Fastball inside to Phelps.
There was a big movie or a series or something that was filmed over there in one of those houses.
European Vacation.
Doesn't sound like it. But I remember my wife was a big fan, so we had to go by there.
Born Identity.
No.
Ted Lasso.
Teddy. Those don't sound. I want to say it was like a series where everything was filmed over there, and I can't remember what. I didn't watch it.
Bridgerton.
My wife loved it, and she loved it. So we went.
If she's watching today, she could clue us in. Swing and a miss by Phelps. We don't seem so lost.
I'm like, really? We got to go by there? And like, she's like, yeah. This movie, this series was filmed here. I want to go see it. And
so that didn't impress you. Ooh. No. Got away from Highfield. Fourth time over 100 pitches in the season for Highfield. Let's see how much longer they stick with him. There is some action now in the NC State bullpen.
Sam Highfield has had really good command. And you see he drops down. He'll do that every now and then, just trying to drop down and get that fastball on the inside part of the plate. And well inside on Phelps.
So base is empty and 2 on for Dylan Carter, who was struck out a couple of times today. This pitch catches the edge, 0-1. Andrew Schaffner starting to loosen up for North Carolina State. Pardon me, this is Henry Hunter batting, not Carter. So Carter is out of the game. It's turned into a spring training game with these moves for Georgia. I think the show you were looking for is Downton Abbey.
That's it. That's it. I knew if you'd have said it, I remembered it. I wasn't a fan, but she was. You ever heard of it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Did you watch it? I mean, were you a fan?
No. Was it hard for you to understand the British accent?
A little bit. I was the only person over there with a flat top, by the way. Nobody else had a flat top. Matter of fact, people were looking at me very strange.
Fly ball well hit to left. Nixon has space, and he puts it away for out number 1. And here's Sebastian Murillo getting his first plate appearance of the day. You know, you could have told people you're anybody you wanted. Like
you could be anybody. You get that far from home, you can be anybody.
That's
be anything you want to be.
Told people you're an astronaut. Murillo looks at a first pitch strike. 259 average with a couple of home runs for the senior. Started his college career at Long Beach State. He's from Fountain Valley High School in Huntington Beach, California. I'll give you 2 Fountain Valley products. One, C.J. Wilson. Remember the big leaguer?
Yep.
C.J. Wilson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, yeah.
It was serendipitous that Murillo even ended up in Athens last year. And he grounds this one to the left side to second for 1, and a 5-4-3 double play turn by NC State. Perhaps that will do it for. And a first pitch strike to Serrano. Serrano from Fuquay Varina, North Carolina, played at Pro 5 Baseball Academy. His brother Christian is committed to NC State. I mentioned all the shuffles that NC State had to make due to devastating injuries, a broken leg, Tommy John injury, off the glove, and ricochets over to third. And in time, Murillo plays the carom. One down.
Pretty good play by Murillo there. Ball shot right off of Jarvis Evans. You can see where he swung over in the shift, almost playing straight up shortstop. Off the glove, he has to redirect. Ball right to him, picks it up. And I mean, just by inches.
So here's Pennington. And he looks at a first pitch strike. Chatting with Garrett yesterday. Grew up a big Royals fan. Did you see the Royals come back last night? They're down 7-0 after the first, 8-0 in the fourth.
Well, they playing some ball. They made a lot of moves this offseason to the Royals. A lot of moves. So far, it's paid off.
I think what's really interesting about where the Royals are, I think they have the 7th or 8th pick in the draft. And if they can keep it up and be in postseason contention, you could see a David Price type situation where they get a college pitcher out of the draft that they could stick in the bullpen should they make it into the postseason. Maybe a Hagen Smith type guy.
Yeah. Garrett Crochet. Remember Garrett Crochet? Came out of Tennessee, went straight to the big leagues.
Pitch for the Sox in the postseason, throwing 101, 102.
First year as a starter for Garrett Crochet. He's in the rotation now for the White Sox. How about that? First big league start is an opening day start.
Down the line, foul. We're talking with Garrett about playing in the ACC and this level of baseball. And he said, you know, first series we had at Notre Dame, it was kind of a pinch me moment. That was late March. They ended up sweeping that series. He played really well. But from Division II to a super region. His Central Missouri Mules team, runner-up to Wingate for the Division II National Championship that's played right there in Cary, USA Complex. Now, you were talking about mules yesterday, weren't you?
I was. You ever rode a mule?
This one's ridden deep to left field, and it is gone into the trees for Pennington. His 17th home run of the season.
NC State's third long ball of the day. And boy, they flipped the script on Georgia. We talked a lot about Georgia's home runs, and deservingly so, but it's been NC State's offense in this one. Making 15 runs now on 17 hits. Third home run. This one got out quick, folks. Quickly got those cypress trees out there in left center field.
And that will ease the post-game traffic, as some of the Bulldog faithful say that's enough. 15-1 in the 7th. First pitch swinging, and Makarevich sends it into the seats on the right side. You know, we're talking to Elliott about this 1-2 combo with Pennington and Makarevich. And he said what they bring to the table is that they're just so mature and professional. He said, I'll go out before the game to exchange a lineup card, second, third game of a series, and the umpires pretend like they're talking about the lineup, and they look at me and they go, man, it's just a pleasure with your guys because they have such a professional attitude. This is a look at that leg kick. Yeah.
Boy, he's just set on that changeup too. Gets that leg up and he gets it down. He recognizes changeup right there and stays back just enough and just throws the hands at it in a rocket out of left field.
Here's the 2-1. A ringing double ordered up for Alek Makarevich. Deep into the corner for Goldstein to find. Extra base hits back-to-back from the veterans Pennington and Makarevich.
NC State scored a total of 3 runs in their regional. A total of 20 runs. We got 15 today.
8 extra base hits for the Wolfpack. Georgia's got 4 hits total. Cozart has driven in a couple. Solo home run and an RBI single. There will be a game 3 in Knoxville. Evansville knocks off Tennessee 10-8, and the Purple Aces extend their Cinderella season. They do it against the #1 national seed, so that will be decided tomorrow. This one skied into foul territory. Corey Collins gets there in time. Tagging from second is Makarevich, and he's able to advance. How about the Purple Aces? Reminiscent in my mind, based on the school profile of Stony Brook going into Baton Rouge and winning a Super.
Yeah, very similar. But Stony Brook, I'm going to tell you, Stony Brook that year, actually, I mean, they knocked off LSU in that Super Regional in Baton Rouge, but they had more players drafted that year than what LSU did. They had a really good team. And clearly the Purple Aces do too.
They had to win the Missouri Valley tournament just to get in. Here's Brandon Butterworth, and he fouls one off. It's an Evansville team that lost 19-6 on Sunday against East Carolina. All back to win the Greenville Regional on the road. And this ball sliced foul. You know, a couple of years ago, Tennessee had the best team in the country, lost a Super at home to Notre Dame. And they had to play game 3 without one of their best players. Drew Gilbert had been ejected in game 2 along with the pitching coach.
That's right.
No ejection, but Christian Moore, perhaps the best hitter on that Tennessee team, injured his knee, had to leave the game yesterday, and was only DHing today. And dig into the box score, but that is a massive loss for Tennessee if Moore is limited.
Yeah. Remember, he won the Triple Crown in the SEC when you talk about just SEC play along that 30-game schedule. Batting average, homers, RBIs. And now all the pressure falls back on Tennessee. And don't think the thought of 2022 is not in the back of their minds.
Texas A&M has tied the game with Oregon on a wild pitch. Don't forget, you can go to ESPN Plus and watch Squeeze Play. They'll keep you up to date with all of the games going on. And horrible news out of Texas A&M. Braden Montgomery left the game with an ankle injury. That one skips to the backstop, and NC State gets another one across. A wild pitch scoring Makarevich. Not only is Braden Montgomery one of the best hitters on the A&M team, but he is a top prospect for the draft. Likely top 5, if not a top 10 pick.
Yeah, just a breaking ball, just bounces well out in front of home plate. Really nothing Henry Hunter can do.
Well, here's Brandon Butterworth. He's got a couple of hits. He's 2 for 3. And Butterworth swings at the first, sends it to right. Collins handles it, but not before NC State gets a couple more across. A home run, a double, a wild. And the first pitch in for a strike to Clayton Chadwick. Chadwick is 0 for 1, a ground out to third and a walk. To short, Butterworth comes around, double clutches and throws with a hop. One down. Elk Creek, Virginia, in Grayson County population of 478. Here's Colby Branch. He is 1 for 2. .94-mile-an-hour fastball for a strike. What an opportunity for a guy like Andrew Schaffner, right?
No doubt. Not many innings this year. What, 11 innings going into this appearance here?
Lined up the middle. They played it perfectly, and a short hop for Hebner. 2 down. Ball was smoked.
That was a rocket. Hebner played it perfectly, too, just right off the dirt. Shift was on. Defense was positioned perfectly. A little top spin liner right there. Picks it right off the dirt, and just a boring throw over to first.
First 2 retired by Schaffner. Top of the order in Corey Collins. Corey started this game at first base, playing right field now. Came in as a catcher, but they were loaded behind the plate when Collins showed up. I remember talking with Scott Strickland about it. Just couldn't find much time for him. He said, look, we got a guy that's probably going to be a first-round pick behind the plate, but how do you catch him? Where do you find time? Some inter-squad, some midweek. Glove work at first by Pennington. He tosses to Schaffner covering. And NC State, so they finish this one up just a win away from their 4th trip to Omaha. Alex Sosa leads off.
It really sets up well for NC State tomorrow. I mean, if you don't use any of your top 4 bullpen arms and you save all 4 of those, that really shortens the game for tomorrow. So if you're that guy right there, Elliott Avent, you said, okay, if my starter just give me 4 innings, or maybe 5, keep us in the ballgame, I can start running out some big-time arms that perform well. You would think it favors NC State.
1 down, and Luke Nixon coming up. We're talking with Elliott Avent about the Nixon boys, and you know, he said it's such a huge advantage for guys who grow up with a dad and grow up around the game. Dad Trott played in the big leagues from '96 to '08, won the World Series with the Sox in '04. Trott was committed to NC State as a 2-sport standout, both football and baseball.
It is a big advantage. Look, when you grow up around the ballparks, you grow up around big league ballparks. Jackson Holliday is an example, one of the top prospects in baseball. You know, obviously his dad, Matt, had a tremendous big league career. And when you grow up around ballparks, you're just not wide-eyed. You know, it's just like, okay, this is what I do. This is what my dad did. You're comfortable around clubhouses, comfortable around the college game, the pro game.
Tip just about. I remember years ago talking to Prince Fielder about that when he was in the minors, and he said, you know, I look around and I got teammates that strike out and they act like that's the only at bat they're going to get all summer. And they slam their bat, slam their helmet, and they make a big scene, and they get emotional about it. He said, not that I don't care if I strike out, but I have a pretty good feel for how this thing is going to go and how to manage the ups and the downs, and I think you learn that just by living it.
I remember way back when I had pitched in Detroit against Cecil Fielder. I remember going out early that day running, and there was a chubby kid standing at home plate, and Cecil was throwing balls to him on the mound way before the game. And I was out there jogging, and this kid this chubby little kid's hitting balls out of the ballpark at Old Tiger Stadium. I'm going, and I asked one of the grounds crew guy when I got through the run, I said, "Who's the little chubby kid?" And he said, "That's Prince Fielder. That's Cecil's son." He was like 12 years old, already hitting homers in
Probably
BP.
put him on the roof, yeah. The hit by pitch would put Nixon on.
And I kind of lost track, and then next thing you hear, Cecil Fielder's a high draft pick and in the big leagues, you know. And I went, "Oh yeah, I remember that kid."
We were talking about it with Elliott yesterday, and he said, you know, just think about all these families where they keep coming through. He's like, Ken Griffey Jr. is a great example. Then he stopped, and he goes, well, I mean, Griffey could have grown up on a farm and still been a Hall of Famer.
That's a little bit different, yeah.
Here's Matt Hebner. And Nixon takes off from first on a pitch in the dirt. Are you a little bit surprised? So Georgia has brought multiple subs into this game, Hunter and Murillo, and they moved a bunch of other guys around. Condon from third to first, Collins from first to right. And NC State is stuck with their same 9 with a 15-run lead.
I think that's the Elliott Avent, right? I mean, we saw that back in 21 at the College World Series. Like, once he gets his lineup where he wants it, like, those dudes are going to run out there, and he's going to keep them in the ball game. Now, we're getting close to the end of this, so I wouldn't be surprised if a few guys got some extra reps somewhere along the way. They are still, yeah, I mean, they're still taking extra 90s, playing like the game's a 1-0 game.
I feel like his teams only know one way to play.
I mean, that's the kind of guys he recruits, right? I mean, just wide open, play like your hair is on fire.
Line shot, handled at third. 2 down. Florida State with a Tibbs home run in the top of the 12th. It's a 2-run Florida State lead over UConn. Keep in mind, UConn hit a game-tying 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th. But James Tibbs, as hitter for Florida State, with another long ball.
423 foot off the bat.
Might be high scoring, and Bryan College Station, Oregon, and A&M are tied at 3 in the second inning. The big story there, Braden Montgomery for A&M left with a scary-looking injury. They put an air cast on his leg after a play at the plate.
Boy, that doesn't sound good.
1-1. Noah Souls is the 9-hole hitter. Hunter can't find it. It's right underneath him. Kind of like John Bateman looking for his credit card at dinner last night.
He found it. Took him a minute.
Don't call you the mayor for nothing.
Luke Nixon over at third base now. Georgia better be careful, because the shift is on. Nobody's around third base, and he's getting way down the line, and he's just hanging out there.
Yeah. 3-2. Well, Nixon has already shown that he's not shy about moving around the bases. Line drive to right field. That'll end the visiting half of the 9th.
He went 6 innings. Did walk 3, struck out 2, 111 pitches for him, and now if this score holds up, he'll be 5-1 in NCAA tournament starts. Lights get the brightest, and he performs his best.
Charlie Condon lifts it to left. Got underneath it, and Condon, he held hitless in this one, 0 for 3. Here are the final numbers on Sam Heifel. 111 pitches,
Loved his approach, too. I mean, he just continued to mix it up. We talked about he was going to throw a high percentage of fastballs. I felt like he backed off of that. A few more breaking balls, a few more changeups. He was able to pitch backwards when he needed to, threw something other than a fastball in fastball counts. But he worked ahead from a lot. A lot in the game, he threw a lot of strike ones.
If Condon doesn't get another chance to bat, and this one's sent to center off of Goldstein's bat, 2 down, it'll be just the 3rd time that he's held without a hit since March 2nd. Wow. And now Slade Alford to the plate. However, it'll be the 3rd time in the last 5 games. Didn't get a hit in the SEC tournament against LSU and held without a hit against UNCW in the first game of the regional. Popped him up right side. 1 pitch, swinging. 9 innings on the season. So from an NC State perspective, and you mentioned this earlier, they have all the bullets left out of their bullpen going into what could be a clinching game 2 tomorrow. But from a Georgia standpoint, they've got their first choice arms out of the bullpen as well. This one is a long run and a sliding attempt made by Murillo, but just couldn't find it. How do you, we've seen it happen before, and like you said, it happened in the College World Series last year. How do you regroup after 16-1?
I mean, baseball players are so good at not having scar tissue and being able to flush bad outings or bad games or even a bad series from time to time. So if you're Georgia, you just got to find a way. Now, it's an older team, so they got to find a way to flush it and get back to doing what they're. I think it's going to begin, you know, with their starting pitcher. And their starting pitcher is Leighton Finley, and he's going to have to go out early and stack a few zeros and not let NC State get off. Because if NC State gets off again, and they can carry a lead into the 4th or 5th inning with the arms that they have on that back end, it can be very difficult for Georgia. And then you hope you have a different day with your offense. And surely you will, because this offense, again, 9.2 runs per game, one of the top offenses in the entire country. They just couldn't get it going.
Well, you know, you look at what they've done over the course of the season. They lost to LSU 9-1. That was the last time they were held to just 1 run. That was in the SEC tournament. They came back and scored 8 their next time out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way Georgia ended the season, right? They got beat by Florida 2 or 3. They go to the SEC tournament. They get beat pretty bad by LSU, and they're going home. So you kind of wondered where they were, but they found their ground again. They found their footing in their regional, and they got going again. So they've proven right there that they can flush some bad games.
It got shut out by Tennessee in the finale of that series. They came back. They scored 10 their next time out. They scored 2 against Kentucky in that finale. They came out the very next game. They scored 18. So there is some resiliency in this Georgia offense. They're 3rd in the country in home runs behind Tennessee and Austin Peay. A half swing, and that one's dribbled foul. What was the final score of that Florida State UConn game yesterday? 24-4?
A whole lot to not enough.
UConn's hanging in there with a tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 12th. Popped up. Hunter tosses the mask. 2 down. Did you ever catch?
Younger, in like youth league, like 12, 13 years old. I quickly figured
13
out
years old, you're only 5'9".
I was only 6 foot, 13-year-old out there playing catcher. I promise you that. Yeah, I quickly figured out that's not where I wanted to be. A couple of foul tips, and you're like, okay, I've had enough of this. It was fun throwing guys out when they would run, but man, you got to want to be a catcher.
Link Jarrett took Notre Dame to the Men's College World Series in his final season there. This one's ripped towards right field. It is gone into the bleachers. Makarevich with his 4th hit of the game and home run number 21 on the season, and that got out in a hurry.
Oh, this dude can hit, can he? Couple of singles, a double. Now his 4th hit of the game, a long ball. His 21st long ball of the year. Make it 77 RBIs for him. Take a look at it. I mean, just a heater right down the gut. He is just sitting all over it. 104 off the bat, and it covered 338 feet in a hurry. Almost a line drive. About like Tom, about like your 2-iron.
That's right. It's about as far as my 2-iron goes, to be honest with you.
Hey, as long as it's straight.
Here's the 1-0 to Jacob Cozart. And he launches it deep to right field. Back-to-back jacks for the Pack. It is 18-1.
Goodness. Boy, this offense is rolling. And I mean rolling.
That one landed in a bucket of White Claws up on that hill.
NC State hit 6 home runs in 3 games in their regional. They got 5 today. Another ball left right in the heart of the plate. And that's what we talked about earlier. They just have not missed mistakes today. Feels like every ball left out over the plate, NC State found a barrel.
This was an 11-0 game after 2 innings, and Georgia went to some little used relievers, Marsh, Evans, DeYoung. Same thing NC State did after dropping game 1 in their super regional in Fayetteville, Arkansas in 21. They'll be back at it tomorrow at noon. Georgia will have its backs against the wall, and NC State will be 1 win from the promised land. And for the 24th time in school history, Florida State is headed to Omaha. The first without Mike Martin. Link Jarrett's team getting it done in extra innings with a 10-8 win over UConn. They dogpile at Dick Howser Stadium. And they'll have a chance to win their first ever national championship.
Well, what a turnaround year it was for Florida State, too.
Two and two. So the ACC punches the first ticket to Omaha. We could have, by the way, an all ACC, all SEC field. Teams like Evansville, Oregon, and Oregon State will try to keep that from happening. UConn eliminated. Is that good or bad for the sport?
I mean, it's probably bad, but I mean, look, the best teams advance. I mean, that's the way it is.
Just a few years ago, Michigan made it to the College World Series finals. Butterworth draws a 2-out walk here. Every super regional site is in the southeastern United States, northernmost being Charlottesville and Lexington, all hosted by either ACC or SEC schools.
Yeah, the question is, can anybody knock off the SEC? Well, they won four in a row, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 9.
Georgia was the first SEC national champion, 1990. Fly ball, shallow left center. Rushing in is Stinson, and coming in from left is Chadwick. Last chance for the Dogs. They need 17 to tie and 8. Get the winner of the Knoxville Super And that is going to a Game 3 tomorrow.
Yes.
Here's Trey Phelps at the plate. And he rockets one to right field. Right to Souls. There's one down. Here's Henry Hunter. Second plate appearance for Hunter. .268 hitter with a dozen home runs. And a knuckleball right to Hebner. 2 down. Dogs down to their last out. NC State an out away from taking a 1-0 advantage. We'll be on the air again tomorrow at noon on ESPNU as State will look to punch another ticket to Omaha. First pitch strike to Sebastian Murillo. A triple-header on ESPNU today. Virginia and Kansas State underway in Charlottesville. Get to there momentarily, and then coverage on ESPNU today wraps up with Oregon State and Kentucky later tonight. 1-2. Squeeze play continues throughout the day on ESPN Plus. And on the present, Mike Rooney sitting in with both Matt Schick and Chris Budden. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Just low, 2-2.
How about Andrew Schaffner? God, didn't get many reps this year, not many innings. He's come in, work on his third shutout inning.
Not allowed a hit. Swing and a miss, and NC State takes game number 1 in dominating fashion. 18-1 is the final. 18 runs on 20 hits. The offense is overwhelming, but
As he went 6 innings, did walk 3, struck out 2, 111 pitches for him, and now if this score holds up, he'll be 5-1 in NCAA tournament starts. Lights get the brightest, and he performs his best.
Charlie Condon lifts it to left. Got underneath it, and Condon, he held hitless in this one, 0 for 3. Here are the final numbers on Sam Heifel, 111 pitches.
Loved his approach, too. I mean, he just continued to mix it up. We talked about he was going to throw a high percentage of fastballs. I felt like he backed off of that. A few more breaking balls, a few more changeups. He was able to pitch backwards when he needed to, threw something other than fastball in fastball counts. But he worked ahead from a lot. A lot in the game, he threw a lot of strike ones.
If Condon doesn't get another chance to bat, and this one's sent to center off of Goldstein's bat, 2 down, it'll be just the 3rd time that he's held without a hit since March 2nd. Wow. And now Slade Alford to the plate. However, it'll be the 3rd time in the last 5 games. Didn't get a hit in the SEC tournament against LSU and held without a hit against UNCW in the first game of the regional. Popped him up right side. 1 pitch, swinging.